Oh, I want to ask you, what keeps you keep motivating? What keeps you keep going? That's the topic.
You're very kind. It's an interesting one, really, because obviously it's not just, I haven't just learned this without trying. So I know that in order to do something big, I need to plan for it. Now, it might not seem my little website is a big thing, but I want it to be a big thing. Over the years, I've read several books: Magic of Thinking Big, Think and Grow Rich, The Gift, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, The E Myth Revisited. I mean, there's a lot of motivational books that I read. What's the ones? Gary Vaynerchuk recently, Crushing It. Great book. And it made me realize, particularly recently I've been reading Gary Vaynerchuk's one, and he's talking about doing something you're passionate about, doing something you love doing, work really hard. You'll never work harder in your life than when you start working on this thing to make it a success. I've had lots of ideas over my life, and I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm looking back and joining the dots together. But I've been using the CAD program Vectorworks for such a long time. I know it very well. I know what I can do with it. I know where I can push the limits, and I also know where I can pick something and use it in a way that people hadn't thought of by applying basic strategies. And I've got a lot of basic strategies. But there's also a wonderful pleasure in watching somebody who's really struggling and you've really helped them. I mean, there's a story I love to tell about a friend of mine. He was really struggling. He didn't have the job that he wanted. He was just lost and he didn't know where to go. And I said to him, look, I'll tell you what you should do is you belong on my website, treat it like a job, spend every day from 9 till 5 going through the movies, just work through them methodically, work through everything. I don't know how long it took him, but he started to change and he was also emotionally, he wasn't happy. So he worked through the stuff and I supported him as much as I could. And he got the job of his dreams. But to me, there's a wonderful feeling when he says how much he learned from that stuff. And so that's one thing that keeps me going. Now, obviously, money is another thing that keeps me going. Doing a job that you hate for money, it doesn't make it easy to do that job. Doing a job you enjoy for money is so much easier. I used to work at a local college and I'm no longer there. But when I bump into people who knew me at that college and they say, what are you doing now? And I say, oh, yeah, I'm working for myself. I'm running my website. Many of them say, you look so much more relaxed. And I feel much better now. I've got this new website. It's got a new community. It's very interactive. I'm really enjoying the interactivity with people. And I'm also enjoying not having the pressure of having to say, okay, the webinar's finishing. Oh, look, we're halfway through a question. Look, I'm sorry, I've just got to go. Let's cut it off. Now the webinars run an hour and 10 minutes because I just have now the opportunity to answer those questions. Now, I hope they appreciate it because I just love doing it. But to me, it's really wonderful to be able to give that to people. Now, when you start reading books like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, first, we've got to win the private battle. We've got to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We've got to be able to contribute to society, start with the end in mind. There's a whole lot of things that I use in my daily life and that I try to get my students to understand. That when they start their assignment, they have to start with the end in mind. What are they trying to achieve? Because if they don't know what they're trying to achieve, they'll never get there, and all that kind of stuff. All these books over the years have really contributed to my understanding. Now, you can't, I've got my camera on blur. You can't see all the books behind me, but I have a lot of those kinds of books. And I have audio books that I listen to. But every day is a challenge to balance the things that you need to do. And every one of us makes mistakes in the day. But part of the thing I've learned is not to blame yourself because you make a mistake. We all make mistakes. So I've started sketching. That's a joy that I have for doing that kind of thing. I'm trying to choose things that bring me joy. Not all of them are designed to make money. Some of them are designed to teach me skills like the sketching. Motorbike riding is just something that costs money and but brings me huge joy. I love being on my motorbike. Gardening is something I enjoy doing. It doesn't bring me money, but it's wonderful to see things grow. And it's really rewarding at this time of the year. I didn't do it this year, but normally what I do by this stage, I've bottled all my jam. And so I want to have toast in the morning. Oh, I'm out of jam. Go to the cupboard, get one of my bottles of my jam that I've made. I know what's in it. And it's really just natural products. It's the boysenberries or the blackberries, or I've got raspberries now, so I can create that kind of stuff. That doesn't bring me a whole lot of money to do those things. I don't sell them, but I just do those things for my joy. So when I guess the main reason I work so hard at doing my business and doing my website is because it brings me a huge amount of joy to do that. Of course, it brings money, but it's also very joyful. When I worked at EIT, when I first started there, I was looking for another hobby. I thought, I'll let my website go. I've got a full-time job. Motorbike riding can be a hobby, and I need another hobby in the evening, maybe like building Lego or photography. But you know what I went back to? I went back to playing with making Vectorworks movies, making YouTube movies, teaching people Vectorworks. So I realized that was my hobby. It's the thing I enjoy doing. So yeah, that's my recommendation, is to do that. You didn't ask for a recommendation. But anyway, I
Yeah,
guess that's what keeps me going, is doing that. Not every day you're doing stuff that you love. At the moment, I need to do some business accounting, and I don't love that part of it, but it's just part of doing the work. As when you're an architect, you always have to do stuff that you may not want to do. I've worked on projects that lasted, 5 years maybe, and there were lots of parts of that job that I didn't really enjoy. But overall, when I look back, did I learn lots? Yeah. Did I contribute? Yes, I did. Often we have to do those little bits on the side, but their main role is that we want to do things that are creative, that help us emotionally. And I just enjoy doing what I do. This podcast, Ethan, is something that we don't make any money from it. So just in case anyone thinks that we're making something, it costs us money to do this. It costs us time and effort, lots of effort, but we don't make anything from it. But that's not the reason we do it. We do it so that we can learn. We learn about BIM. We have to learn to do our presentations, but also we think that we can contribute to other people's lives.
yeah, I do.
And so I guess that's one of the reasons I went to EIT, was because I thought I could help change people's lives. It just turned out that by the end, I was just not enjoying the structure that goes around that. And that's why I left.
Well, thanks for telling me how you have been keep on going, keep on motivating, and it's really good to know. And yeah, I think all the
Well,
listeners will learn what makes Jonathan keep moving.
I know our listeners don't know how old I am, but most people my age are thinking of retirement. But that's not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking about the next stage of my life, which is not retirement, but it's about doing stuff that I really enjoy doing, like my website, doing our podcasts. But Ethan, I've got to tell you, I find you inspiring. I'm amazed at what you're able to do. You're going to China soon. You're doing the construction management. I look up to you. I know it might sound funny to say that because our ages are different, but I do. I look up to you. I find you inspiring with how much you've done.
I think I'm just doing nothing. Same thing. Same like what you said. I just doing for fun. But yeah, I think so. It's something that makes me happy, right? Similar to you. And for example, like going to China is I learn about how other people think, and there's also Asia. So I'm an Asian. So there are some of the things I can connect and communicate. And I learn, okay, oh, this is how they do. This is slightly different how they do, or this is or when I put it another way, how comment, how there are some near part I can learn. So that's how I saw it. And also, yeah, my education was quite diverse. I studied so different countries, For example, like I study in Myanmar, which is where I was born, and I study in Singapore, and and also in New Zealand a bit. That's for the education anyway.
You
So
were trained as an architect, and now
yes,
you've
I
got all that
was trained.
quantity surveying knowledge that you've acquired and the construction
Yes,
management knowledge you've acquired. So you've really
yeah,
worked hard to get that kind of knowledge, which for me is inspiring. When I was looking at doing the CM course in Napier, I turned to you and I asked you if you thought I could learn that stuff.
yeah.
I looked up to you at that point.
Yeah, actually, every time I just do my best. And also, I was always the last man standing at the project. For example, like I was quite stupid enough to, usually when I do a construction project, almost at the end of the project, people resign and run with it because the boat is sinking. People run, people jump from the boat and go to another project. I usually, not usually, always stay to the end of the project, and the company was always give me a letter. Okay, we are no longer required. Thank you for your contributions, and I need to start looking for a job. That's what my attitude is, and I'm still keep on going in that way now. And for education, I think I just want to know, I just want to learn. That's why I keep learning from there. And I think one thing I'm not very good is I'm not very consistent compared to you, because I do, for example, I do this today, and I will be, I won't be doing for a few days, and I put all my time again for. That's what happened, and yeah, so I I try my best all the time, and but I'm not as consistent like what you do, because you by observations, your YouTube video you're uploading every week. I know that you have a strategy, and also, for example, like we do a podcast, try to do it consistent every week. And also now you have started your Fun Friday, so that's also you're more consistent compared to me. Every small step you keep on moving. For me, yeah, it's hard to do that because I'm over everywhere. I'm spreading too much. For example, even education, yeah, stretching thin, and yeah, it's hard to be consistent. And that's why I inspire you. Okay, how Jonathan keep on moving? And because when I look up you're moving, that means oh, it's time for me to do something. That's also keep learning. And one of the reasons we do a podcast is also if you want to move first, go alone. If you want to go farther,
Go
go
with
with a friend.
somebody.
Yeah, go
Mm.
with a friend, go with somebody. That's the idea. And also doing dialogue is better than monologue. So we can just fill in the gap and talk, and we can also contribute and always keep on pushing. And so we always say, oh, is it the time for podcast? And we just come for podcast and we talk. So I think from this podcast is about a little bit of our personal situation, personal, and our listeners didn't know our vulnerability. I think we just show our vulnerability about the podcast. Yeah, our human side about it. Yeah, we are also sometimes lazy. We have our
Sometimes we're lazy. But I think
all
that if we look back to how we started, you and I would go for a walk in the morning and we'd start talking. We realized that we knew a lot of stuff, you've got such a lot of experience in different areas. You worked in different countries. You've got loads of experience. I've worked in other countries as well, and I've got different experience from you. I'm not sure I'm more experienced than you because I look at some of the things you've done and I take my hat off to you as some of the
right.
stuff you've worked on, and maybe you feel the same way. But we are different. We come from different cultures, but we can share knowledge and information. And I really look forward to these where I can share a bit of you. I can find out from you something. And we're gradually learning more and more as we share information, as we learn. I think we're learning ourselves as we're sharing information to others because we find something we think we need to talk about, we need to research that, and then we can talk about that. And I've really enjoyed these. So I'm looking forward to doing the next ones.
I think it's time to say goodbye for tonight to the listener. And
Yeah, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Thank you very much, Ethan, for your time, and I really do value your opinion, and I appreciate you giving your time for us. Spotify, don't forget to like and subscribe on Spotify.
yeah, all right.
I know you can listen to this podcast in different places. but we'd really like you to like and subscribe on Spotify. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.